Over to you, Richard.
Thank you, Greg. Morena, everyone. As Greg outlined, we've delivered a strong result in a challenging environment, demonstrating the resilience of the business and the strength of our team. I'd like to start off by setting out the key highlights of our result. Our audited underlying profit rose 13.6% to 255 million. Reported IFRS profit increased 64% to 693 million, and this of course includes the investment property revaluations. The board has decided that shareholders will receive a final dividend of 13.6 cents per share. The total dividend for the year is 22.4 cents per share, unchanged from last year, and within our payout range of 30 to 50% of the underlying profits. The record date for entitlements is June the 3rd, and the dividend will be paid on June the 17th, 2022. Total assets approached 11 billion. We had total cash receipts of 1.4 billion, up 18.7% on the prior year. Only 1.4% of the group's retirement village portfolio was available for resale at the 31st of March. We built 711 units and beds this year across the group, in line with last year. As communicated at our half-year result, our build programme was impacted by COVID delays. We started work on 4 new sites during the year at Takapuna in Auckland, Northwood in Christchurch, and Hyatt and Ringwood East in Melbourne. This brings our total villages under construction to 16. That's 9 in New Zealand and another 7 in Australia. We also have another 13 in our land bank. When complete, these 29 villages under development and in our land bank will be home to over 9,000 new residents. We anticipate capital proceeds from them of over 6 billion. We're targeting a build rate of more than 1,000 beds and units in the coming year, a significant increase on the 2022 financial year. In addition, we continue to build our land bank. During the year, we purchased 4 new sites and added additional land at 2 of our existing sites. These sites nicely complement our existing land bank with a mix of townhouses and apartment-style developments, improving our mix of capital intensity. Today, we are also announcing 2 new sites, Rolleston in Canterbury and Coburg North in Melbourne. These are in addition to the 2 purchases made earlier in the year at Mulgrave and Kialba in Melbourne. Our construction team has successfully operated through COVID. We are, however, continuing to experience some disruption to supply chain and some upward pressure on construction costs. The ongoing work and the exciting new acquisitions give us a great springboard for the growth as we continue to get ready for the increasing demand that lies ahead of us. We further strengthened our balance sheet during the year, and we further diversified our debt funding. Meanwhile, we continue to invest in the resident experience. Our Olympics at Ryman experience brought 700 competitors across 41 villages together to compete in the world's first retirement village games. We made the most of digital technology to link competitors across New Zealand and Victoria to compete in a range of sports, from swimming and walking and cycling through to virtual bowls. It helped everyone forget about COVID just for a moment. The Olympics at Ryman was recognised with an Innovation Award at the Ageing Asia Awards in Singapore, which are regarded as the Oscars of the industry in our region. Setting up the team for success is critically important, and our expansion necessitates good systems and processes. During the year, we moved to a group and regional structure. The structure has bedded in nicely and means that functions and responsibilities are clearly defined across our 2 key markets. And it's come into its own during COVID, when travel was severely restricted, and reflects the fact that Ryman is now an international business, operating in 2 distinct markets. The imminent appointment of a New Zealand CEO will complete the final piece in that structure. Now, as Greg mentioned, the Omicron wave arrived just after Christmas in last year. The teams in Victoria coped superbly, not only keeping residents safe, but providing a blueprint for for our response when it inevitably landed in New Zealand. This put a lot of pressure on our teams, and as Greg said, their resilience and professionalism shone through. In times of crisis, of which recently, of course, we've seen plenty, trust is a valuable commodity. Being named the most trusted brand in our sector for the 8th time was a highlight for the entire team this year. We've now been able to turn our thoughts to the next phase of the pandemic. That's what we're calling living with COVID. We're optimistic that the COVID crisis is in the rear-view mirror, and living with COVID is the new normal. We have well-practiced drills to keep our residents and teams safe, and we can now look up to the journey ahead. I'd now like to take just a few moments to say something about my first 7 months getting to know Ryman. Getting around the villages, I've been blown away by the way that our purpose, that is care, drives all of us, and just how amazing our team are at delivering on this purpose. And ultimately, I've come to realise just how positive our residents are about their experiences with us because of this drive, this care that we offer, consistent, unmitigated focus on our purpose. The result is that the only regret our residents seem to have is that they did not move in sooner into a Ryman village. I've also been amazed to learn about the number of other things we have going on, things that most people don't know that our team do for their wider communities. Initiatives like the Ryman Prize, our annual charity partner work, and our extensive partnerships with NGOs and arts organisations, both in New Zealand and in Victoria, which all serve to reinforce our social licence. Our strategy is built on our purpose, and since I joined, we've been doing a lot of work, further refining our strategy for the future. We offer care that is good enough for mum and dad, and we do so in a commercially viable way to ensure we can bring the Ryman lifestyle to even more residents. We have a vertically integrated business model based around a continuum of care. It's proven its resilience during the recent challenge of COVID, and we're committed to it. In delivering on our strategy, you can expect us to offer the best continuum of care for ageing well, to deliver an unparalleled resident experience, to continue our expansion to new villages, targeting high-value sites to meet the ever-rising demand. And you can also expect us to continue to invest in our people so that we can provide the leadership the sector needs. This Ryman team has the strength and capabilities to deliver, and I'm very much looking forward to the year ahead. This is my focus, a strong and unremitting focus on care, matched by strong commercial performance. Thanks for your time today. I'd now like to hand over to Cameron for an update on our progress in Australia.